Epstein Island isn't the only sex island out there. And Tim Ballard takes down one in the film.
These children represent God. They're the most innocent and like God, and that's why the devil wants to kill them, wants to hurt them. It's always been this way since Pharaoh, and then to Herod, and to now, but more than ever.
You're 7 years old and someone is stroking your it feels good. Right. Even though you don't have a name for what that is, it feels good.
We have a darkness around us right now. We could lose our republic. Are we going to let our children go? And that's a question, and people have to answer. And I think they're onto this. And the way things are going to be done now, it's going to be changed from this point on. There's going to be a new direction in this country.
Jim Caviezel just dropped a bombshell that could change everything we knew about Oprah Winfrey. Now, before we get into it, you need to understand how we even got here. It all started with a film that Oprah and her inner circle desperately tried to shut down.
There was talking going on, and I was like watching the audience going by. Second time it happened. Again, third time, talking in this one particular spot. And I'm thinking, what, did we do something wrong or something? But so then one more time it happened. At the end, I was asking about the movie, and I asked him about that one particular part where everybody's talking, and they all cried out Epstein Island. And I went, oh, okay. Now I understand what we're up against.
Sound of Freedom movie went through hoops just to get to your screen. And it is not your typical Hollywood action film. It is based on the true story of Tim Ballard, who quit his job and risks everything to start his own operation, dedicated to rescuing children from monsters like Jeffrey Epstein. And Jim Caviezel, he didn't just play the main character. He became obsessed with this project, and after you hear what happened during filming, you'll understand why.
This movie has a power because it goes into your heart, and it asks you a question. You know, when this is all done, what do you get? And what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to meet God at some point. And I believe it's going to move a lot of whistleblowers to come forward, but not one. In the hundreds, maybe thousands of them worldwide start coming forward and telling the truth of what's really going on.
Caviezel has talked about filming in Cartagena, Colombia, and what he witnessed there still haunts him.
You know, when we were down in Cartagena, the guys would come up and they would, you know, right in front of us, ask us if we wanted niñas or niños, and little boys or little girls. And people think that that's not something that happens here in the United States. Well, absolutely it does. Over 300,000 children under the ages of 18 were into the deepest recesses of hell, and it's disgusting that the media hasn't covered it like they should.
He is talking about the global scale of child here. And here's the scary part. In the United States alone, over 300,000 children have been affected by these types of operations. Remember all those kids crossing the border? Approximately 85,000 of them have reportedly disappeared. No one knows where they are, and nobody in power seems to care enough to find out.
They're not doing their job, especially when 85,000 children had crossed the border this last year and disappeared. Where did they disappear to?
The production of this film itself is a whole other story. Jim Caviezel revealed the movie was actually made over 5 years ago, but major studios didn't want to release it. Eventually, it got picked up by Angel Studios, and when Sound of Freedom finally arrived in theaters, it became a huge hit, making more than $200 million. But here's where things get messy. Jim Caviezel didn't just make a movie. He stepped into a war, and Hollywood elites fought back hard.
And everyone was told, from Rupert Murdoch, from Fox, to every studio, look, if you touch this thing, you will be out, you will be done. You'll be finished in 3 years. I remember this one conversation I had with Mel Gibson and the whole team that came in and just said, wow, these are the stakes.
So why do Hollywood elites hate this movie so much? I mean, it's about saving kids. That's exactly what Charlie Kirk asked Jim Caviezel on his show, on which Jim replied saying that powerful groups, and he specifically hinted at people like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, who have been trying to delay or block this film for years.
Why are they so opposed, so frantic in antagonizing Sound of Freedom? What's going on here?
Well, I'll give you an example, Charlie.
We were about 4 years ago, we showed the movie, and this has been a 5-year deal. And they've done everything they could to stop it, as they did this with The Passion of the Christ.
At an early screening of Sound of Freedom, something happened that nobody expected. During a key scene, audience members started mentioning Epstein's island. Caviezel saw this as a sign. He said it was like the audience was trying to draw attention to something bigger. And he started talking about this concept he calls the 8-armed octopus.
This thing is just the beginning of this whole thing. It's an 8-armed octopus. And if you take just out, that arm will grow back. You have to take the head. And we're talking grooming. We're talking about, because procures more, and
Yes.
then it's a non-stop cycle. So this is a culture that has to be reawakened.
Basically, he sees as just one part of a massive network. This isn't just some small operation. It's connected to people in power all over the world.
Looking at our state of our world right now, I have great hope. I know that the saints in heaven wish to be on this earth right now because there are far more people on this earth than there's ever been. And there are far more souls to save right now than there has ever been.
Jim Caviezel has been pretty vocal about his public distrust in major media because of repeated misinformation. And this topic has become a major turning point for a lot of people, especially after you see there are 5 specific instances where Oprah Winfrey's name has been mentioned in the list. Now, when your name shows up in the same files as a convicted, you need to explain yourself. And Oprah, she hasn't explained anything. She has gone silent, and it's not just the court documents. People have been digging into the flight logs of the Lolita Express. Epstein's private jet flew all these rich and famous people around the world, and guess what? There are alleged connections between Oprah's travel details and people present on those lists.
I think it was on that day that I mean, for the first time I recognized that I was not to blame, because I became a promiscuous teenager. And as a result of that, got myself into a lot of trouble and believed that I was responsible for it. It wasn't until I was 36 years old, 36, that I connected the fact, oh, that's why I was that way. I always blamed myself. Even though intellectually I would say to other kids, I would speak to people and say, oh, the child is never to blame. You're never responsible for life. I still believed I was responsible somehow, that I was a bad girl.
The Epstein connection is just the beginning. To understand why this matters, we need to look at a trail of scandals that stretches back decades. Oprah Winfrey's history is filled with incidents that, when viewed together, paint a very different picture. In 2007, she opened the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. It was supposed to be her crown jewel, a school for underprivileged girls. Everyone was praising her philanthropy, but then these horrific stories started coming out. Shortly after the school opened, a dormitory matron named Virginia Makopo was arrested and charged with 14 counts of indecent acts against underage students. While Oprah publicly said she was shaken to her core by the allegations, there was a defamation lawsuit that was filed. The school's former headmistress, Makopo, claimed Oprah's statements unfairly suggested she was covering up the wrongdoings. They settled out of court. No details were ever made public, and Makopo was eventually acquitted of all 14 charges because of contradictions in witness testimony.
And the reason why it irritates me is because it means that somebody must think I'm lying. That's number one. Number two, why would you want to hide it? That is not the way I run my life.
Beyond the court cases, there are constant rumors about numerous missing girls from the academy. People have even talked about mass graves on the school grounds. Now, Oprah has never addressed them. She has never launched an investigation. She has never provided answers. She just went silent. And when you're worth billions, and you have all the resources in the world to find the truth, silence speaks volumes. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, let's talk about how Oprah used her platform to validate like Epstein.
Let's talk about what's happening with Harvey Weinstein. I know you posted on Facebook already, but you haven't kind of spoken yet publicly about what's going on.
I think that this is, I'm always trying to look for the rainbow in the cloud, whatever is the silver lining. And this is what I do know for sure. When something this major happens when you have the fallout, 50 women coming forward, that it's a watershed moment. And what I do believe is actually happening is that, first of all, it's triggering a lot of unreleased pain, repressed anger, guilt, and suffering that a lot of women have had.
Harvey Weinstein is now serving 16 years in prison for his crimes. But before all that stuff came out, he was a Hollywood royalty. And Oprah was friends with him for decades. They attended events and were photographed together. She even gave him access to some of the most exclusive Hollywood parties. There's a lawsuit from British actress Katie and Noble that lays out exactly how this whole system worked.
Katie met Harvey. She met Harvey with Oprah.
With Oprah?
With Oprah. So Katie, and she talks about this in an interview, and you know, before the trial, during the trial, we'll play the whole interview. She talks about the fact that if Oprah's with Harvey, then why should I worry about it? I mean, Oprah is like the world's mom. Who is not going to trust the person who's next to Oprah?
In 2014, at the British Academy Film Awards after party, Harvey Weinstein introduced Noble to Oprah. Now, when you're being preyed upon by someone like Weinstein, and you see them with someone like Oprah, it makes the seem like a good guy. Noble described her experience as Weinstein swinging Oprah off his arm to gain her trust.
And he was with people in which I admired dearly. He was with Naomi Campbell. He had Oprah Winfrey there with him, who entered the room and was swinging off his arm and just seemed like a very dear friend. And these, like Oprah, Naomi, Rita, and Georgina, they all sat at his table. And for me, you know, meeting Oprah was like, oh my God, like I would have thought that I would have to be someone who's established, who everyone would have had to know about before I was privileged enough to meet someone like Oprah. So that gave me so much confidence in him at the time when he approached me. I thought, obviously this man has something amazing in store for me.
On the other hand, Singer Seal posted photos of Oprah kissing Harvey Weinstein on the cheek with the caption, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." People were furious and Oprah never really responded to it. But Weinstein isn't the only she advocated. Let's look at another case that should have raised serious questions.
I don't know what happened. These are entities. They don't have any form. They're just these spirits that enter his body. It's been going on for 40 years to 25 million people.
Okay, so tell me this. Does he tell you a certain time to lay down, a certain way to lay down?
No, just go to bed, wear white, just wear, everything is white, drink the water, take the herbs, and don't have, and don't eat spicy food, and don't eat pork. But basically, that's it.
John of God was a Brazilian faith healer who claimed he could cure people, and Oprah had him on her show on different occasions. She promoted him to millions of viewers and gave him this global platform. Years later, John of God was exposed as a serial abuser by dozens of women. He was sentenced to prison, and all Oprah could do was issue some statement about being saddened by the news. Oprah has researchers, fact checkers, producers. She's supposed to do due diligence before putting someone on television, but she put this guy in front of millions of people without checking his background. Was it ignorance? Or was it something else? Well, according to Jim Caviezel, this is part of a pattern. Oprah providing global validation to people without doing any real checking. And when those people turn out to be, she just moves on like nothing happened.
My intention, Dr. Oz, was always to please. The reason I said yes is because I don't want you to be upset with me. The reason I gave you the money is because I don't want you to say, oh, she's stingy. She don't know how to, she's not kind to people. She doesn't share. So she's not nice. So my intention was to make people think I was nice or allow them to feel that I was nice.
Oprah's presence at Diddy's parties makes this situation even more messy. I'm not saying she knew what was going on behind closed doors, but when you consistently show up at places where these terrible folks gather and consistently validate those behavior with your presence, at some point it's not just a coincidence. At some point, it's your personal choice, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Oprah as the unofficial enabler, the woman who opens doors for these guys and makes them look acceptable to the public.
The criticism in the beginning was, you know, you're wasting all of that money on just 400 girls. Well, on 400 and then another 400 and then another 400 and another 400. I will tell anybody who chooses to criticize it, not a dollar has been wasted.
According to Jim Caviezel, this is all part of something much bigger. Caviezel doesn't just see Oprah as one bad actor. He sees her as part of a much larger machine. What's interesting is how Oprah's name keeps appearing in some terrible conversations, not just in the Epstein files or in the Harvey Weinstein connection, but rumors about cooking and her ties to the Clintons and other high-ranking officials who have also been named in the Epstein files only add more fuel to this fire.
Hillary Clinton, hi. Has anybody told you are the super predator? Has anybody told you are the super predator? You're responsible for the deaths of millions.
While the mainstream media continues to dismiss these claims, Jim Caviezel has been making some very bold predictions, and they're starting to sound like a countdown. Jim has been speaking at conferences for what you might call American patriots. These gatherings where people are really fired up about what's happening in this country, and he's been saying some pretty intense stuff. He has talked about an impending storm of all storms. He says it's coming, and it's going to bring mass arrests. He has hinted at people like Oprah, along with other big-time celebrities, as people who should be nervous about what's coming.
Isn't that what we're supposed to do? Or are we just supposed to sit back and stay on the fence? And as my friend says, the devil owns that fence.
Here's where it gets interesting. Caviezel has claimed he has inside knowledge of a divine reckoning. He says this reckoning is going to shake everyone awake. He calls it the event, and he positions the Epstein files as the final step before it happens. Whether you believe in prophecy or not, the fact that someone like Caviezel, a guy who has put his career on the line for this, is standing in front of crowds saying these things, then this thing definitely holds some weight. Think about this. Why has there been no mainstream investigation into Oprah's connections? It's not because the information doesn't exist. It's because she's the gatekeeper. Oprah Winfrey has more media power than almost anyone in history. We're talking about television shows, magazines, book clubs, movie deals, political connections. She has built an empire, and with that empire comes control. She's the one who decides which stories get told and which stories get buried. She's the one who determines who gets sanitized and who gets destroyed. She's used that power as a scare tactic. If you're a reporter and you want to write something negative about Oprah, you know what happens? Your career is over. She has made examples of people. She has crushed people who have tried to go against her. So most journalists just don't bother. It's easier to stay quiet, and when articles do come out that she doesn't like, her team has them scrubbed from the internet.
Well, because I was trying to calmly leave and not cause a thing. No apologies necessary.
When Oprah's like, stand up and show me your body, show us why you're worthy of being here. That was so not okay.
I speak about that woman because she's spoken about me. And when you begin to speak about me privately, I'm going to speak about you publicly.
This is what Jim Caviezel means when he calls her the gatekeeper. She controls the flow of information. She decides what's acceptable to talk about and what's not. And the confession culture she pioneered? Some people see that as a tool for reputation laundering. Powerful figures get to perform remorse on her show, and then everyone moves on like nothing happened. No real consequences, no real justice. And when the scandals get too close, she does what she always does. Rebrands herself as the uninformed, innocent victim, and somehow, she becomes the solution instead of the problem. Look at the pattern. When the Harvey Weinstein stuff started coming out, what did Oprah do? She jumped on the Me Too bandwagon. She stood up at the Golden Globes and gave a speech about believing survivors. She became the face of the movement. Suddenly, she wasn't the person who had been friends with Weinstein for decades. She was the person who was going to fix everything. Then there was the Maui thing. She was doing fundraising trips, getting praise for her philanthropy. And this was happening right around the time the Epstein stuff was starting to heat up. Coincidence? Maybe, but a lot of people don't think so. A person tweeted saying, Oprah should come out and tell the public who is running Epstein network. Another one added, Oprah's deep connection to John of God should wake everyone up. Oprah, too, deserves serious investigation.
America right now, and the world, when they see this, they're being reawakened because the media has lied too many times. And this is the strand that broke the camel's back.
Jim Caviezel's comments have left us with a simple question. If this were anyone else without Oprah's money, power, and media control, would we be having this conversation? Or would they already be behind bars? Think about it. If your neighbor or my neighbor had their name showing up in Epstein documents 5 times, had a school where kids were getting had been best friends with for decades, and kept showing up at parties with guys currently under investigation for what would happen to them? They'd be in jail. Their career would be ruined. But Oprah? She's still out here, only because she controls the whole situation. She's the gatekeeper, and that's exactly what Jim Caviezel has been talking about. This guy didn't just play a role. He became a target. He got attacked, smeared, dismissed, all because he dared to make a movie about saving children. But when the Epstein documents finally surfaced, Oprah's name showed up in those files, and she hasn't explained any of it. She's just gone silent, and the pattern is impossible to ignore. Harvey Weinstein, John of God, Diddy, the South African Academy. It's the same story over and over. Oprah befriends she gives them platforms, and when it all comes out, she moves on to something new and acts like nothing happened. What do you guys think about all of this? Do you believe Oprah has something to explain? Is she just an unfortunate associate who made some bad friends? Or is there something more to the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.